What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Lake Julian Disc Golf Course testing out the Tour Series for Evelina Salonen, the Aviar 3, and this is in their Proto Glow Halo Star Plastic that some of the Tour Series have come out in this year. It feels really good. It looks really cool. It is very bright and easy to see. So we have to test against it the Mint Discs Bullet. This is in their Eternal Flex or Proton soft plastic. And just in case it's a little bit more stable, because the flight numbers of the Aviar 3 given to it are 3202. So just in case it is actually that little bit extra stability, we brought out the Envy as well. Let's go see how some putters fly this morning. We're gonna start off here with the Aviar 3. First throw with the Aviar 3. First throw actually with an Aviar 3 ever. I've never thrown an Aviar 3 before. This feels kind of P2-esque. Maybe Sky got 4-esque. Okay, some stability, but I'm gonna throw all three off the first tee pad still just to make sure they were testing it against the right disc, because that might have been a misrelease on my part. So here is the Mint Discs Bullet. Yeah, the Bullet has a flip up that the Aviar 3 did not have. And I think Envy is more similar. Well, we're still gonna test it against the Envy. I guess I'll just be carrying a Bullet around, but that does mean 0.1 goes to the Aviar 3 because, well, tree. So here we should be able to get a nice, consistent release, having a tiny bit of turnover on the disc. I don't want Anheuser. I want a firm, crisp, extremely flat release. And if it drifts a tiny bit, that's fine. But I'm throwing the stable disc here on this hole for that reliable. It's not gonna go in the water. It's always gonna fade towards the left side of the fairway, which is the safe side of the fairway. So if there was any wind, 100% I'm gonna be reaching for something a little bit more stable. I did not give this Aviar 3 enough credit. It is actually a good bit more stable than I was thinking it was. It felt more neutral. It feels, I'm still looking at it, still looking like how did this fly that overstability? How did it have the overstability? I'm not sure, but it did have it. I pulled it a little bit. That was a grip lock on my part, but it does mean it can be beaten somewhat easily on this hole. Yeah, that is the perfect shot right there. The Aviar 3 was a little low and a little bit pulled. So unfortunately for the Aviar, that's a point to the Envy, because the Envy I know can make points fast. So let's hope that the Aviar steps back up. So it is 1-1, and yes, we're on this tee pad. No, we're not gonna throw a forehand. We're gonna throw a backhand turnover. I don't mean flex shot. I mean turnover. I'm gonna try to put him on enough Anheuser that overstability at the end of its flight is just gonna make it flatten out to pretty straight. I don't want him fading out. Envy has the box. This Envy is very stable, so I'm gonna have to really kind of try. But the Envy was popularized and forever memorialized in the holy shot, which is a big long turnover with an Envy. So let's see if I can get this one to hold it. You know, maybe if I didn't grip lock it to, I don't even know what we want to call that today. That's a better line. Kind of light branch, but turned out way better than the Envy. I'm gonna go get back in the shade because this sun without the breeze is very hot. And here's something that could add to the stability of the Aviar 3 that I didn't really think about in the profile. And that is, I mean, for the Envy, it gets it by the higher parting line. This one gets it from the parting line being about the same, if anything, a little bit lower than expected, but everything's more angles. And so you don't have it's not as sloped rolling edges. So those angles and those edges are going to catch wind, which is going to slow the disc down faster, which is going to stable it out sooner, right? So we're going to try the forehand on this hole. Aviar 3 has the box. I'm going to go for the turnover forehand that should hopefully pan over towards the basket. I'm not going to talk in between the throws. I want to try to make these two throws as identical as possible. Pretty similar. Honestly, more similar than I expected. And here's one of the things that kind of brought me to this Aviar 3 in the first place was glow rounds. It's a star glow. It's a Proto star glow. So it does glow in the dark. It being the day glow color, it's probably going to glow somewhat decently brightly. And I could throw this instead of an Eclipse Envy. And I know what you're saying. Well, if you already bag an Envy, what's wrong with an Eclipse Envy? It's Eclipse plastic. And Eclipse plastic feels very similar to me, very similar and porous, similar to base plastic. And I don't grip it well, especially in the cold. So the star plastic might actually be the way to go. So stability wise, I do think this one might be a tad bit more stable based off of the last throw, but they're pretty similar. They're very, very similar. We're gonna go for the drifty flex shot, try to pull it off of the wall of trees and then kind of flex back towards the basket. This one's about 250, so a firm shot, but not max power because, well, max power probably won't let them come back. So firm shot to give them the distance, and with that flex line, it should help push them a little further. I mean, it's a little short, but that was the perfect line. It's exactly what I was drawing up and envisioning. Okay, so here's where we're coming into the thing that I've noticed with a lot of the MVP plastics is that they are much more speed dependent. So if I overpower an Envy, like truly overpower an Envy, it's never coming out of it. Whereas if I truly overpower, well, let's say this Aviar 3, it kind of still keeps its stability no matter how much force you put on it. So I tried to throw it identical and give it the spin, but it just didn't want to really hold on to that turnover. It wanted to fight out pretty quick, which is why now I'm going to have to go look for it in the bushes while the Envy is like 30 feet, edge of circle, right down the middle. I started to notice it with some of the drivers where I would try to throw a 9-speed driver, and if I went a little bit over the disc's threshold, it was wildly understable. Even though it's somewhat decently overstable at normal speeds, if I try to throw it like it's a distance driver to get a little bit more distance on that shot, it suddenly turns into almost a roller. And so with MVP, you almost, it's very, very touchy. If you find the right disc, it's perfect. But if you're still looking for the right disc, sometimes it's a little uncontrollable. I guess what I was trying to say is that the Envy has more variance in what you can get the disc to do. It's more overstable and it's easier to flex than the Aviar 3. So the Aviar 3 kind of has a little bit more of a set little thing that it does. So I don't know if the Aviar 3 is necessarily for me, because I find the Envy a little bit more versatile. All of that being said, that was all touch shots. Let's throw a power shot, try to throw it as flat as possible, see if we can hold it straight all the way to the basket. A little bit of an early release there. Tree there. But Aviar 3 went further on the line it was intended to be on, so I guess that does mean Aviar 3 with 3 points, Envy with 3 points. I might be running out of short holes. I think we might have to go out in the sun. All right, Aviar 3 has the box. We're gonna throw flat to flat shot. There's a little bit of a headwind, so this is actually gonna tell us some useful things that we need to know, like how well does it hold up to integrity when you throw it into a headwind? Things that you really need to know for your stable throwing putter. About 300 feet downhill, but with a headwind, Aviar 3. Just a little baby anhyzer, keeps the disc super straight. That's a pretty comfortable release for me. Now, does the Envy do anything different? Because this one seems to be both more stable and more glidey, hence from the dome. Let's see. Oh, I pulled that one. But it was more anhyzer and fought out sooner. Or fought out the same amount from more anhyzer and a grip lock with the head crosswind at that. Yeah, I do think the Envy is more stable. That's another point to the Aviar 3, which very similar to how we've been doing a lot of these videos recently. I think that means Aviar 3 is probably going to win this video, but I'm not going to put it in the bag because I want to keep it new and stable for the glow rounds, and it's too early in the spring for that. I realize that this is going to be an odd number or an even number of holes, so it's either going to end with a 2-stroke victory or a tie, but you know, it's fine. Envy is going to stay in the bag for the time being. It's still too bright out, long daylight hours to stick the glow disc in the bag because I want to maintain its stability, like I said, but it surprised me. I've never thrown an Aviar 3 before, and I wasn't expecting this much stability from it, and you know, pretty good. Probably helps that it is pretty flat. It has the softer shoulder, but the flat top, yeah. Anyways, let's go max distance rip, try to give it some anhyzer, and also try to give it some air. How far can we get these to go before they flex out? Probably a little on the lower side. I needed more air for that one. That one had the air, but I also gave it a little bit more spin. So it just held on to that angle. So yeah, Aviar 3 is gonna win this battle, but stick around for later in the year as glow season starts to kick back up. We're gonna see more from that Aviar 3. But for now, Envy staying in the bag. Hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with the subscriber-only giveaways. It definitely helps me out as well. And until next time, see you out on the course.